Besides kids with physical disabilities, do you deal with anything beyond that? Mental disabilities or autism or something?
I do autism. I do developmental disabilities.
Well, one in particular I'm always interested in autism. What could you do to a family or a parent who had a kid that was labeled autistic? What could you do to help them get through or get them through this situation? What things you could offer them?
There's two things that I offer them. One is advocacy. I have found that when the kids are in school, they're not getting the proper education that they need. So I try.
So New York City, which tries to put kids of different problems in a class together to save money, I hear sometimes.
Sometimes, yes.
Some schools do a very good job. It's like any place else.
Right.
Some do as good a job. If the parents have a big mouth, very vocal, they usually try to keep the mouths quiet,
right.
So they try to offer more services.
Right.
We know they have a limited budget. There's only so much they can do. But if a kid is in the school system, you can try to get them some type of, say, ABA or some type of therapy the school
yes.
may not want to give.
Yes. One of the other things is with this mainstreaming that's happening in those public schools right now, they're not taking the children's needs into consideration.
So putting the kid in a regular class?
Right.
Maybe the kid has a milder form of autism,
right.
or autism that maybe he can communicate, has some socialization thing, maybe an Asperger's syndrome or something
right.
like that. But sometimes a smaller class, a class with enlightened type of teachers,
right.
Making the kid more comfortable with the surroundings
right.
Would help. But we still are dealing with a school system. At any one time, they get enough money to buy pencils, but we're trying to get the kid a better education.
Right, but when they mainstream them, the problem that the parents are having is the teacher is not professed in the special education field. So with them not being professed, they don't exactly know how to handle these children in a mainstream setting. They don't understand what happens when they act out. They don't understand why they're not communicating. And the teachers get frustrated and they end up taking it out on the child.
So in other words, in an idealistic situation, money is not the biggest question.
Right.
Good education situation, surroundings for a child is the question. A kid that has socialization problems or severely, a kid severely has attention problems, and whatever the reason, you try to get him in a class with a teacher who's trained to cope and have more patience with a child like that?
That's correct.
Okay, but it's not an easy thing to do, is it?
No, it's not. One of the things that I suggest the parents do, and I will even go with the parent, is before school starts, you go in and meet with the child's teacher. In most cases, by the middle to end of August, they know who the teacher is going to be. And you bring the IEP and all your information and explain to the and
What's an IUP?
An IEP is an intensive education program. It's basically a written bunch of forms that states what your child's learning needs are. For example...
So it's an educational evaluation, right, which they involve, we hope, a school psychologist,
right,
maybe the pediatrician or a developmental
right,
person,
the school nurse,
special education, school nurse. Idealistically, it would be a team approach.
Yes.
Everybody would talk to each other and make a decision what would be best for the child.
Right. There's also a place for
Is that
counselor.
delusional? Think that happens?
It's supposed to happen.
Is it happening?
No.
Okay. And New York is one of the better systems. I imagine if you're out in the Midwest in a little town where there's a very small school system, it's probably even worse, wouldn't it?
Yes. I know of a case that I did last year where I was in a mediation for 6 hours.
So you actually went with a parent,
yes,
and try to negotiate, which is, because isn't there a law they have to guarantee every kid a proper education?
There is a law. It's a federal law. One of the things that was put into place was no child left behind. But it doesn't work. Every child is entitled to an equal quality education, which is what no child left behind is supposed to state. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Children are being left behind. They fall through the system. They fall through the cracks. I myself was one of those students. I was also diagnosed with learning disability, dyslexia. They passed me right through the system because I wasn't what they call a troubled child. I didn't get into trouble in school. All I wanted to do was learn.
So you had a little problem seeing the information,
Yes.
grasping information. You saw things a little bit different.
Right.
But the teacher thought that maybe it was you and not the system.
Right.
So they blamed you and
Right.
didn't find maybe they could find a way to reach you. Obviously, you did reasonably well in life,
Yes.
education-wise.